Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys slept well last night. And oh, you're ready for a brand new day. Guys, as is my custom, thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. A few shout outs before we begin. Somebody says, Mr. Moore, you have to powder your face. Yes, sometimes that's what they tell you. They say you have to use one of these brushes. You know, you got to make sure that you get rid of the shine, you know. Now, remember, I keep telling you guys that this is a one-man show. I do everything. I do the makeup. I do the lighting, you know, and I try to give you my best as I can. And I know sometimes I fall short. See there, I knocked the thing over. I fall short, but it's okay. It's nobody here but home folk. Guys, a few shout outs to you. Samuel says good morning. Hey, Samuel, thank you so much for taking the time. Good morning. Hello to you. Simonda. Okay, hi. Everything cool? Boy, get them. I had to get to them. But when I'm in trouble, you don't come for me. But I had to get to them. But I had to swah. All right. Guys, let's get into it. Let's just get into it, guys. There are a couple of things we need to talk about that I think are important. Let me bring you up to speed. Many of you know that yesterday there was a communique sent out from the Ministry of Home Affairs, the police, instructing the security detail that was located at the former president's residence, in particular, former President LUNGU. The communique basically said the officers that were present there were to be withdrawn and redeployed somewhere else. Now, what is cardinal to point out is that officially, the police have said they have not withdrawn every single officer. There is a remnant. Do you guys know that word, remnant? If you're not a Pentecostal Christian, you won't know what a remnant is. There is a cluster. There is a microcosm of security still left at former President Lungu's house. As far as the state is concerned, okay, not innuendo, not hearsay, not gossip, okay, not inference, None of those things, according to the official communique from the Ministry of Home Affairs. They have said that there is a number of offices withdrawn from the premises, but the official communique is that there's still a remnant. There's still a small number of officers still there at President Lungu's house. That's what I know. And that's what I have read. That's my understanding. Of course, if I'm wrong on that, then I'm wrong. But my understanding is what I've just explained. Now, against the backdrop of that, as soon as that communique came out, there's a bit of panic and by Emmanuel Macron, who happens to be a dear friend of mine, and I have lots of respect for him. And let me sidestep here and just say for a moment, I think that being a politician, you really have to be called to be a politician. If you're going to be a politician, if you're going to throw your hat into this discombobulated world of politics, you really have to be made of a different substance. You have to be more than just the average. I mean, your skin has to be more than rhinoceros skin. It has to be clad in iron impenetrable armor. Because here it is, Emmanuel Macron rushed over to former President Lungu's house. And this was late last night. I mean, I was asleep. Boom, I get a little notification. I look at my phone, and there's Emmanuel Macron. Ubushiko. Bonse natulala. Natulala to the muma bed natulala. Natufimba na Antoine. We saw umfwa ting na isula phone by Emmanuel Macron. And the first thing that hit me was, these guys are so dedicated to their craft. I'm not waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning to go see somebody. I'm not doing that. You see, this is one of the reasons we can't all be politicians, okay? This is one of the reasons we cannot all be, we can't always be associated with politics. It's because of things like this. They call you at 1 o'clock in the morning, give a statement to the media. So Emmanuel Macron gets to Lungu's residence, and then he comes out. And as you know, Emmanuel is always eloquent. I mean, when he speaks, every word is in its place. He doesn't mince words. He's a very clear, effective communicator. So he rolled out what he thought was happening there. He basically said, he complained about, Home Affairs doing what they were doing, and he sort of inferred and implied that, the cabinet should go over and engage the former president. He felt that the IG should go over there and engage the former president and sort of roll out their plan. But he complained and said, well, this whole thing, it reeks of unfair play. He complained, basically. But what I found interesting, what I found amusing, was that Emmanuel was surrounded by a group of hooligans, a group of misfits, a group of vagabonds. Shabashan. So ni ba N.P.F. waba. Ni ba N.P.F. But if live, I'm joking. I know it's not you. It's the internet. I know it's not you. Let me fix that real quick. Let me look at that real quick. Right. Okay. If it drops again, as long as you can hear my voice, tell me when it goes black. Can you still hear me? I will still continue speaking, even if it does go black. Okay. So basically, he complained. And what I found interesting was, by Emmanuel surrounded by these guys, and then they started talking. By Emmanuel takes the mic and gives it to one of the guys, and they start saying, no, if we twice to provide security for our former president. And I'm also asking my fellow youth, where my youth, my daughter kuno, to guard the president. Now, there's everything wrong with that. Just so you know. I mean, let's be very clear. There is nothing about that statement by those kadas that is sane, that is right, that is kosher, that is proper. that is balanced. Everything about that statement was off kilter. Everything about that statement was misplaced, because there is no way in Balungu's full consciousness, there is no way that he can allow that sort of lawlessness to surround his place of residence. Guys, we have a history. It's a known fact. Everybody knows. Everybody talks about it. A while ago, we heard the story of N.P.F cadres stealing a TV set from former President Lungu's house. What are you going to do there? Half of you chaps, you don't even have security clearance. But you remember by Eskimos. Eskimos. Whatever kuma Antarctica kuria, the Inuit people. Ever heard of the Inuit people? Whatever fuara filia fuara musno. Now fi fuara kwati ninkalam. Fia sat yo, if we don't to actually provide security for the former president. Half of those chaps have no security clearance. That why Shiva, a machine that why Matio to a former president. That's nonsense. That is complete and utter nonsense. And the former president should not allow and tolerate that nonsense. You will bring in a wolf in that conclave. If you keep that up, where you just bring outsiders just because they are wearing PF or any PF, at no, if I am mukulonda former president. Who are you? Ishina, chief, NRC, security clearance walikwata tawakwata mwaima fiat yo aba kuchiboria via ku former president Lungu. This is why, in case you are wondering, this is why those chaps are sitting outside of the perimeter of the property. Because I know Mama Esther whispered to, I'm assuming, I don't know this for a fact, I'm just saying to you, because I know how wives speak. I've been married to a wife for more than 24 years now. So I know I know what it means when a wife speaks. I know Mama Esther probably whispered, Kuriba Lungu, say, Daddy, shideva fwaya muno munganda muno muyad. But a pansa kuti ba ikara. Nomba muno muyad shideva fwaya. Ba skedem. Badi iba ma TV last time twa ba shide muno na lero futi bebe shideva fwaya. Nga wale folks start offer if you have security, they can do it outside, not muno. I know that's the conversation they had. Okay. So guys, the bottom line is that I think it is very irresponsible. Let me just go ahead and say it this way. It is very irresponsible for former President Lungu's inner circle, okay? And I'm really trying to be careful with my words here because I don't want to, make it sound like it's a slight. It's very irresponsible for the former president's inner circle to allow that debacle of uncleared, unidentified, undeciphered chaps to provide security. And the other thing that's going to happen in that Ibex Hill area, like any miebe, mwala fula bakabola ala no mamuya. Kai fiala fuma kuchibodia, fiala fuma kukanyama, fiala fuma kuntwani, fiala ya kulia ku Ibex kulia tiyo, tuwaisa mkulonda ba former president. Kanchi bakabola ala. So ilia Ibex Hill area ilia, bala vafye bakabola ala full. Ama break-ins, already there's a problem there. No, but you are adding fuel. Mulechta add paraffin to the fire by introducing new intruders under the guise, under the pavilion, under the camouflage of security for the former president. So my encouragement to the police, can you please be vigilant there? Bantu, there will be an influx of chaps claiming to be cadres. Don't do that. And my advice to the inner circle of the PF, of the N.P.F, put your house together. Put your house together. Eh? Sort that problem out. Don't allow those chaps to hoodwink you in believing that they're providing security for the former president. How? When has that happened? Nonsense. Nonsense. Stop it. Secondly, and lastly, you know that sorry. Chirufiatayari, kuti Chiruba. I got the second president on my mind. Tayali was arrested yesterday, and rightly so. Very necessary move because, and I'll be honest with you, now that he's been given a charge, everything that happened at his house, or let's be clear, that's not his home. He lives there rent-free. That house belongs to a PF sympathizer who has allowed Tayali to live there in exchange for what Tayali does. I mean, that's the reason why Tayali never wakes up and goes anywhere for work, is because this Facebook is his bread and butter. I mean, they just tell him, you can live here rent-free as long as you turn on that camera and cuss HH out. That's the trade-off. All of you know that, you know, some intruders went to his house. They broke into his yard, and he claims that they were from the army. The CCTV cameras caught the whole thing, you know. They drove in with some type of vehicle. They bound his gardener, and according to Tayali's narration, the gardener told Tayali the intruders were from the army. They said to him, no, we're from the army. We've come to warn your boss. If you talk from army, we're boss, we're under the army. Tell your boss not to speak about the army. This is what Tayali claims. Okay. And then in one act of bravery, you know, Tayali pulls out his pistol, his little pistol, because, you know, he always carries a gun. I mean, the guy is always looking over his shoulders. I mean, who wants to live a life like that? Maybe that one is after me. I think my spies. But that's how he lives. And everything that happens to him is self-induced, self-inflicted. Okay? So here it is. He claims that he pulled out his pistol and he shot in the air. And these people that he claims are the army or were the army, they fled. And I've always asked the question, I'll ask it again, and I will continue asking it. If indeed those intruders were from the army, and Tayali pulled out a pistol and shot in the air, and they fled upon hearing the puny shots from Tayali's pistol, if they're the army, it means they failed to get Tayali. If they failed to get him, how are they going to protect this nation if they're really the army, which we know they're not the army? Well, yesterday, Tayali was called in, and they arrested him, and this is the charge. The charge is giving false information to the police. The moment he was slapped with that charge, to me, I begin to question the authenticity of that whole event. I begin to question that. Now, notwithstanding, every one of us deserves protection from the law. I've said this. I've said that. Haven't I said this? Didn't I say that the other day? Didn't I say that every single one of us deserve? Didn't I say that? Every single one of us deserves to be protected by the law. But none of us have the right to fabricate, to lie, to augment, okay, to make something, to create apparitions for political purposes. Now, of course, this is still yet to be determined because, you know, with the charge, he'll probably go to court and all of this will come out in court. But from my vantage point, at this moment, in my view, I now begin to see the holes in Tayali's story. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. If you look at the demeanor, if you look at the that's the word, the demeanor of his gardener, he just seemed so relaxed. He's, you know, oh, you know, they came, they did this. There was no inch of trauma. There was no inch of trauma in the way he looked and in the way that he narrated his side of the story. And then Tayali went on, because I know him, I know how he thinks. So he goes on this trajectory to try and deflect attention from everything that's going on and trying to create a story of the army descending from that high tier, descending all the way from up here to come and arrest Chilufya Tayali. And then he begins to say, they want to kill me. Now, all of this is in an effort to create angst, to create anxiety, to create acrimony, to try and create fear in some citizens, because we all know HH is not a dictator. He may be a different president. He may have a different style of presidency and governance from you. But when you look at the definition, the strict definition of a dictator, you think of Adolf Hitler. You think of Idi Amin. You think of Pol Pot. You think of all these despots, Genghis Khan and all these guys who was Genghis Khan a dictator? I don't know. I retract Genghis Khan. I might be wrong on that one. But you get my point, okay? You get my point. So it is disingenuous. It is unfair to label a leader as a dictator when you know he's not. And so this whole effort by Tayali is to create acrimony in the country. So the police picked him up yesterday. Well, they didn't pick him up. He went over there. They arrested him. He's been charged. So the police now, after interviewing him, because, you know, I've been to the police. I know the drill. I'm 54 years old, for goodness sake. This is not my first rodeo. I've been around a few years, more than half a century. So I know the drill. When you go to the police and they suspect that your story is not adding up, honey, you are in big trouble, especially when you mix the component of the army and alarming the nation. As far as the police are concerned, that is called trying to alarm the nation. For what? For political mileage. For what? So that, you know, you can create this mirage that this country is under some type of iron-fisted rule, when you know good and hell well that is not the truth. You know that. We have just crawled out of that umbrella in the previous regime. You know that. And for you, or Tayali, or anybody else for that matter, to imply, to infer, to suggest that Hakainde Hichilema is a dictator is both ridiculous and foolish. Just say you don't like him. Just say he's a different style of president. But don't say he's a dictator, because when you look up the definition of a dictator, Adolf Hitler killed more than 6 million Jews. Kim Jong-un presides over a nation of a people that he subjects under his feet. Robert Mugabe was a dictator. How dare you call HH a dictator when you know good and hell well he's just got a different governance style from you? And also the truth is, and let me say this in conclusion, the truth is you're just upset that he's the president. That's what it is. You N.P.F guys are just angry that he's the president. Why? Because you didn't see it coming. You were so sure that he would never become the president. You had put all types of roadblocks in his path to ensure that he would never become president. You tried to stick the tribal tag on him. It didn't stick. The Zambian people said, no. You tried to arrest him and throw him away. You threw him in jail for more than 100 days. That didn't work. You tried to underhand him and to perform some type of skullduggery against him. It didn't work. You tried to use Tayali to preach this message that HH had somehow acquired some land dubiously, but that landed with a hollow thud. You failed. You tried to bar him from standing for president. That failed. He went to the polls. His name was on the ballot. The Zambian people woke up that morning and they said, this same man that you don't want to be president, this same cornerstone is the one we want. And you're upset about it. That's all it is. Mukose. It's It's a 5-year tenure. After 5 years, Hakainde Hichilema and his homeboys are going to come back and say, hey, listen, this is what we've done. Would like to ask you to give us another term. It's up to the Zambian people. It's up to you. It's up to me to give this president another term. Or it's up to us to say, no, we don't want that. We're going to choose someone else. It's up to us, okay? It's up to the Zambian people. You must know that. It's not up to some fake prophet in Nigeria. It's not up to Tayali. It's up to you and I. Boom. How long have I spoken for? 25 minutes. That's a long time, boy. That's a long time. 1 or 2 your comments, and then I'm done. Exactly. They never expected it. One day HH will be Republican president. They didn't see it coming. And that's what makes them mad. That's what makes them furious. Okay? All right, here it is. I agree. His residents should be respected. Why tolerate nonsense? What's wrong? It's N.P.F. That's the truth outside the gate. One more comment, we're done. True about Ibex Hill. That place is very peaceful neighborhood. Yes. No manga walete fuma PF kadazikudia under the umbrella of protecting the president. Bwana, you don't know who those guys are. PF or N.P.F. Any chap from Chiwodia can wear a t-shirt and say, I'm here to protect the president. Yeah? Kawawawa, wa. Kawawawa, wa. Ulaye. Hey. Hey. That's all you got to do. Barakwing shapagate. Kawawawa, wa. Ulaye. Hey. Hey. Thank God those days are gone. Boy, I tell you what, to our pena. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye.